Hey there, today's another day, and it is about this 2002 GMC. Yeah, this baby right here is going to get a little bit of an overhauling, and Puss in Boots is agreeing, and she's whipping her tail and saying, let's get started. Quit monkeying around. Yep, yeah, see, she just said it. So I guess I got to get to work on this 2002 GMC. It's going to be getting some body and paint. Yep, the entire beast. So as you can see there's some dents in the front. Nothing major. The major dent is right there. And I'm going to go at it the best way I can to get as much as this to get pulled back out, try to straighten it out. And if I can't get it out the way I want it to, then I might end up cutting. I know I have to definitely cut this section out. This is rotted out, and there's obviously a hole right there. So this will get some new sheet metal. But at the same time, we're going to eliminate the ground effects, the body stuff there. Yeah, we're going to eliminate that totally. The topper, or cap as it's called, will also be getting painted. There is a nice little dent right here, and there's a small one right here. But overall, it's not bad. Work has to be done. And I will be taking off the rear bumper so that when I go to paint it, I can, get behind that area there. Tail lights will be off. When I go to paint it, the cap will be off. But the cap will be staying on there until I'm done prepping it. I believe that'll be the best way, unless I set up something to where it's a little more comfortable. And then when it is ready to paint, I will be lifting the bed up, moving it back some so that I could spray behind the cab and obviously in front of the bed as well. Yeah, I'm gonna do it nice and go from there, because as you can see, hopefully, the clear coat, which is typical for GMC, Chevy, that Chevy over there, same issue. Paint is faded, clear is off. That one's a little worse shape on the top. It's rusted. But body-wise, she's solid. It's a little older than this one. I think it's either a 98 or a 99. Not really sure. But this one here, I'm sure, is a 2002. And there will not be a color change. Same color. Yep, same thing. I will not be taking the dent out of the front bumper. No need to. They're not worried about stuff like that. They just want to make it look really nice again. And actually, it will look better than when it came out of the factory, because factory paint jobs are, they're not the best. The computer robots paint them. And she's back over here again. She's saying I'm not moving. She's moving her tail, whipping it like, okay, let's get started. Enough yip yapping. So in the meantime, I'm going to get her in so I can start removing all that stuff and the rest of the stuff I spoke about. So until then, stand by. And because she is, see, she's rolling around saying you're not moving fast enough. Yep, that's Puss in Boots for you. Okay, the plastic pieces are removed. I got one of them in my hand, the other one's on the floor, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but these things, plastic little things that stick out, have to be pinched together. Squeeze it and kind of give it a little push up as there's pressure, like I used with the pry bar underneath it to have a little bit of tension on there. And how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 per side you got to get at. But not too shabby. This will go on a lot faster than it did coming off, so that's the main goal. That's for sure. And keep in mind, everything you take off, it's got to go back on. The license plate, I got that removed. So I got 9 bolts here that I have to take out. And once I take that out, then I'll be able to hopefully safely remove this bumper. And then before I put it back on, I'll try to remove some of the surface rust off of it. And there's some deep pitted rust, so that's not going to come off. But also, too, I got to disconnect this. I guess that must be, yeah, that is for the spare tire. So maybe I won't have to. Maybe it'll, yeah, it looks like it'll just slide right out. Hopefully that's the case. I do have the key for that. Pretty sure I do. So until I get all these bolts off and do my thing, hopefully that, nope, that's, yeah, even this light's not attached. So that's a good thing. So I'll be back. Stand by. Alrighty, as you can see, the bumper cover is off. Let me turn around my little screen here so I can see. Make sure that I'm in view there at least. It is definitely easier to take off 10 bolts versus and just remove the cover, because you have the factory trailer hitch assembly that would have to come off, along with the framing, which involves quite a few bolts. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, ooh, geez, 5 on, so you'd have 10, the equal amount. And, you know, in itself, trying to get at it, you'd have to drop the tire. And in some cases, you really can't even get in there based on what it is. So this is a lot easier. I don't need to remove this. And this would even be more of a safety factor, the way the factory has those bolts, whether they're locked tight in or whatever. This way, just the bumper cover, which is kind of common on this age truck, even older, like in the 90s. Dodges, same way. They have an inner skeleton, just like this, and it's just easy to remove the outer shell. So I will remove this little plaza sticker, and the reason why the bumper had to come off, like I mentioned earlier, is so that I can paint, you know, back here underneath the taillights fully, instead of trying to, you know, get in there, because it's just too hard to try to spray and make it look right. You might end up running the color as well as the clear. So I don't want to do that. And then it's easier for me to get in here in the lower part of the bed, even though I'm not painting inside the bed. But this will be, you can see this. So I want to make sure that I paint it like it should. So I'm going to start either taking off those. Yeah, I believe I'm going to do that next while the truck is up, and go from there. And then also, in the meantime, I'm going to order me some paint. So until I get further ahead with these pieces off, I'll chime back in and stand by in the meantime. Okay, we're back. Puss in Boots just did a final inspection. She's giving it paw up. All the side stuff, trim, what have you, is off. And she's happy about it. Yep, there she goes. So, as you can see, it is off the truck. Yep. I like it that way. Absolutely. Yeah, this side is pretty horrible, but I'll be able to work some magic and get that whole thing out, including that. Surprised the light didn't get busted, considering that it starts from here and it's caved in. But anywho, there's the view. It's a good thing it is getting painted. Yep. Alrighty, so next move is the taillights. And after that, I'm going to start pursuing some of these dents. Small ones first, get them out, and then move on to the bigger ones. So until then, stand by. Okay, I'm back. And when the client dropped this truck off, knowing I'd be painting the cap, I mentioned that if I could safely remove the side panel glass without the possibility of damaging it, I will do so. They were concerned about the water that was coming in, and they thought that the water was coming in the seam between the cap and the bed of the truck. And on further inspections, I showed that it was leaking, or is leaking, from the glass because of where the stains are and the mold is. So I'm going to show you, hopefully be able to show you what I'm referencing. See how dark that is there? And it gathers more as it goes to the front. And she had mentioned that the water was coming in there, had a little container to catch it over in that corner. And there's a little bit going on over there, a little bit throughout, and over here. So I removed the 962 million screws that were in this inner flange, and I discovered I could safely remove it. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm really glad that I'm able to do that. Absolutely. So this way, I can put some sort of seal around that, whether it's foam or rubber or gasket of some kind. I don't know if I want to put silicone, not really sure. But whatever they use for that, I'll investigate and see what happens. I can do, since there is a bit of weight to this, so I gotta still have to be careful. Yep. A little nervous, to be honest with you. Yep. I feel a little resistant right here, so or maybe I take this part out first. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm not sure of the weight. So I'm going to see. It's safe in here because it's all leaning in. If I can get a handy dandy multi-talented assistant to help just take it off and put it somewhere safe. So in the meantime, I'm going to take the screws out of the other side, being that there's 969 million screws in there. And once they're off, I'll make a phone call, and hopefully I'll get somebody to come here and help me take these things out safely. I'm not sure of the weight of it. Can't imagine it being heavy, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. So stand by. Okay, my handy dandy qualified assistant showed up and safely removed both of the glass. It's a little tough getting out because when they originally cut the side of the fiberglass, it was really a tight fit, and I think they just, pushed it in hard and it went through. So I'm going to clean up a little bit of the edge before I paint it, so this way it'll go in a lot smoother. And then find whatever the company uses to seal the glass back in, because when I took that track off and was moving it and setting it down, water came with it. So I know for sure that I was correct in my analysis and my findings of it leaking through the side. And noticing that this front one is done the same way, this one will be easy enough for myself and not have to worry, and I'll take the 800 screws out of there and remove it. So I'll have a nicer, cleaner finish and not have to tape it all off, so to speak. But this back one will remain because it's got some weight to it. It is what it is. But this one will remain. I don't want nothing happening, and noticing that the third brake light up here isn't of its best quality either. I wonder if it even works. But nevertheless, that's done. Started running some tape. Yep, there's a lot of that going to be going on. So looking forward to it, moving along, and I think I'm going to experiment now and trying to get some of these dents out. Yep, got to. So until then, stand. Well, hello, and it is the next day, and we're back on the 2002 GMC Sahara. So I got this morning working on this front fender, and I do believe that I did show the profile in it. It was, pushed in, dented, pushed in, and it is back to where it belongs. I know it might be hard to tell, but I use this system that you probably see advertised a lot. It's definitely, it's these fixtures, and they get hot glued on to the surface that you want working, and hot glue gun and glue sticks, what have you. So with that method, it allows you to end up doing, really in the long run, a little less body work. You could use what I've always used in the past, the little weld-on stems that you go on and you do some grinding, and then they get welded on with this special welding gun. And that's fine and dandy, and it works fine. But at the same time, this method for this application is much better, because at the end of it all, then I would have some light filler going on there, have to spend some time body working it. In this case, not grinding anything to weld something to it and get it to come back out. That, for this vehicle, works out better. Because a new fender from LMC is somewhere in the neighborhood of $200, plus shipping. It could be over that, over 200. But whatever it is, the amount of time to actually get that fender off, I believe you got to pull the door off and take the inner fender out. There's too much labor, too much time, and I didn't want to do that. But the reason why I'm mentioning that, because this rear part and the bed is caved in, as you can see, I'm sure. I did order a panel for that, and the panel goes from the bottom up 12 inches, which takes you to this body line where that gouges, and it's 37 inches long. So it does start at the center of the wheel well opening. So, it'll make it almost, to about here, which isn't quite the whole dent, and then get me somewhere around here. So what I decided to do before that part comes, did order it. It's about a week out. I found that kind of strange, the 1 to 3 business days of processing. What's there to process? It's one panel. And if you're that big of a company, you think it'd be processed at the time you're actually placing the order, because I did it on the phone. I did not do it on the internet. I like to make sure that I'm going to get what I want, so that there's no, error on my part. If there's an error describing, the full part of what I'm looking for, if there's an error, it would end up being on them, because my description, I'm sure, would be clear enough. In this case, I don't believe that there'll be an error on the part. So what I've decided to do is to help the situation out, because I could wait and then cut the panel out, and once it's cut out, try to pull all this stuff out around it. But I thought it would be best, and what I'm going to do is take this 8-inch I-beam. I know it's a little barbaric, and that's why you see those marks, and I'm going to weld it. There you go. Weld it to this, and then weld it when I'm going to start here first, yank this out. I'm going to pull it out and use my post on my lift as an anchoring point, and try to get this whole mess to come out as far as I can get it, especially up in here to where I can get part of the skin to pop. Because if you look inside there, you know, beds of trucks, there's two panels. There's an inner one for the bed and then the outer part of it. So I can't get in it to help push it back out without cutting or drilling holes, and I don't want to get into that. But I believe that what I'm about to basically endeavor on, I'm going to be able to get that out a lot, and if anything, be able to get this to pop back out and flex and be the same contour that it should be. Well, at least that's what I'm hoping for. That I don't think that I would have that much of a complication. I'm sure the welds will hold, and I'm going to put it on the stand and get a little more descriptive on my plan here. So, yeah, with all that being said, I'm really going to do this one first, the lower one first. Weld it on there. And I'm hoping, and the reason why I picked this 8-inch I-beam, I feel as though that I'd be able to hook a chain to it a lot easier because, you know, the other side of the eye, part of the beam, I can either put the chain and hook it right here, or I can wrap the chain around it as to where I have a nice good area to pull from. Because if not, then I would have to make something that I can put holes in it and be able to weld at. And I don't want to get into all kinds of fabricating just on some sort of item that I came up with to help pull this back out, the inner damage as well, because it's all connected. Then I can get the inner damage to come with it, especially with something, I think something this massive. And I believe this mention going across looks like 6 inches to 7 at most. So I can get a real good bite on it, I believe anyway. And if not, I'll try another method, but I really think that's going to work out to the best. So even if I only come out so far and then take it off and put it up here, come so far, just keep going back and forth, the end result, I hope, will be a great one. Because, you know, there's some flexing going on here at dent, and once this is actually opened up after I get this out as far as I can, I believe once I cut it, I will be able to hopefully massage that dent out as well. I want to get as much of this out as I can and use the most limited amount of body filler as I humanly possibly can, so that, you know, it's a solid repair. That's my goal. That's the whole function. And as you can, I'm going to weld this on there and see what happens. So in the meantime, stand by. Okay, I'm back. I have the 8-inch I-beam welded to the lower part of the bed. Got the chain hooked up to the come-along. But before I welded anything on the truck, just to let you folks know, in case you plan on doing any welding on any vehicle that has any kind of computers in them, you need to disconnect the battery, the ground on the battery, which I've already done. That's why the hood is up and wrench is sitting there and the ground is disconnected. You're taking a risk. I don't know how big, doesn't matter the size of the risk, and maybe doing damage to the computer or any other electronic device that's attached to that truck or car. So nevertheless, going to move forward, and I'm going to give it a try and hope that I get progress. Basically, I want to make sure that I can do this firsthand as y'all are watching. So I'm going to take it slow. I don't know if it's going to just pull it off or tear it or something, but I got to try and see if my Frankenstein idea will work. It is coming out. I have it welded in 6 spots on there, hopefully solid enough. Yep, it is working. I doubt very much that I will pull the truck towards my anchoring point, which is my lift. I'm going to take my time and hope that all will be well. I hope you can see this. Maybe I should step on the other side. Yeah, yeah. I'm going to move this like this. So hopefully you could see it. And then I'm going to go around the truck. There you go. You might be able to see it better. But it is coming out. Taking my time with it. I do believe it's going to work. I think my Frankenstein idea, it's not so crude after all. Definitely have a little bit more to go, but main point of interest is up here as well. The biggest part, because of how far the bend, the dent goes in comparison to the new sheet metal. So ooh, see that? It's coming out. Yep. I think I like it. I think I will get my dent puller and hook it in here and help pull some of this out. I think I like that idea. Disconnect my ground. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to snatch up the dent puller and go around. A heavy duty dent puller. So let's see if I can create some magic. I'm going to change this end. I have a longer hook which will allow me to go up in there further. But so far so good. I like what's happening. And see, this one is got a lot more depth to it and a different angle. Alrighty. Because I want to make sure I get the inner fender of this as well. Alright, that's that. Yep. So now I'm going to cut these off and weld it on there. And once I do that, I'll get back with you, so stand by. Okay, I'm back. That was pretty quick, I think. And I got it hooked up. I'm going to do the same thing I did on the lower one. This towards the front of the truck is more of a concern. This area, it is working. because this part right here is right in the area where the panel will be replacing this. So I think so far so good, I think. It's a pretty, I'd say, serious crease right here. And hopefully that new sheet metal will take me right up to the top body line, because it's just below it and kind of hits it over here on that end. I think what I'm going to do is relax it and pull strict, take this hook and put it to the bottom so it wants to like teeter up to get this bottom piece out, because I think this is pretty good right up here. Yeah, I really do. So that's what I'm going to try to do right now. Where another set of hands would definitely help out. I'm going to get my jack with a 4x4 and jack this up. Yeah, I like that idea. Absolutely. It's not quite 3 foot long. This is a 3x4. I believe the jack will definitely make up the difference. There we go. Yes, I do believe that's working. Yep, it's doing exactly that. Just what I hoped for. Yes, sir. Yep, I like it. Give it some taps. Perfect, because it's going to get cut out. But the more I can get it back to close to being its original body structure and the way it just rides along the plane of the bed, the better off and the more successful that the patch panel will be to its best advantage of being nice, correct. So that's the important part of it all. Now before I disconnect it, so that's going to be the scoop. Yep. So I'm going to disconnect that, cut that off, and put it in another place to where I can get a benefit out of it. And I just have to figure out exactly where that will be and go from there, even if it's a matter of just moving this over some or do the bottom part first. I'm not sure, but I definitely can get more out of it, and that's the plan. So stand by. Okay, I got it cut off there and welded in a new spot, and chain come along is hooked up. It's kind of like reenacting the damage as the impact. this out of the way. Let's move this over. That's definitely doing it. I know I got to address here, so I might hit this spot next. Let's see. First I got to disconnect these. I'm going to hit this again in this spot right here. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put you on standby again. I'm going to get this cut off and weld it in a new spot, and then we'll chime back in. Okay, I'm back. And I didn't want to record the last pull on it because you were getting the gist of what I was doing and to get it back out. And for the most part, because this section is being removed, I think I'm pretty good at this point of where it's at. I'm sure that the panel got stretched some. So even if I get it to come out, will it buckle somewhere else past the point of where it has to be cut? So I don't want to take that risk and start having to reshape it. But at the same time, I did take the body hammer, the dent puller, and I did wail on this some more to get it to come out, the inner part especially. And I believe once this panel's cut off, I'll be able to access that inner piece a lot easier and get it to move easier without having this skin on there. So for now, I think that'll work. I think we're good. To get it that far, I think is a big help. And once this piece is cut, I can always body hammer it. I'm sure there'll be hopefully enough room to where I can work that and get it to come out and do the best I can with it. So looking forward to getting that piece, which the staff at LMC said probably take a week. So let's hope that it takes a little bit less. In the meantime, I will be doing the prep work on the rest of it, taping stuff off and, moving along on this so that this way should be ready for paint almost by the time that panel comes, and then I could work this piece and do what I got to do with that. So in the meantime, there's no point in showing you that I'm actually, taping this thing off. As you can see, started. I'll do all that. I'll leave the side window free of paper and part of the windshield, same thing. And taking off parts that I can easily paint around. If I think there's going to be a little bit of a hiccup, which there might be on these mirrors because the bottom part does come down and goes into the body panel. So I'm seeing, I might end up taking them off. I'll research that. Yeah, I think between this little cover, there's probably 3 or 4 nuts that hold that on, and there is a plug because these are electric. And I'll just unplug it and take it off. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. That'll be a lot easier and do the same thing to the other side. This way I don't have to try to work around, because then it's, changing the angle of the gun. And so I'm going to take these off. Yep, and because they're not going to be welding on it, I will reconnect the battery. Yep, let me angle you down there. Yep, you can see the battery. Good old wrench. And we'll put this back on. A little bit of a spark. Guess there's a draw. I don't know where that would be coming from, but never the who. She's all good in the hood, or under the hood. So until the next shot that I'm going to make on this, showing whether I'm doing the sanding on it, the hood is pretty rough, clear coming off, faded, but that's the whole idea of repainting it. But I'm going to move along and get as much done as I can. And until next time, hang on, stand by. Okay, it's the next day and I'm back. And what I just got done doing was actually pressure washing down the truck for a good reason. When it comes to paint, you have to make sure you can keep as much as the dirt, dust, and especially oil away from it. So when I opened the hood, not that it was really dirty, but dirty enough and dusty enough as to where I knew it needed to be pressure washed. So I sprayed some chemicals all over it and I cleaned it. I stayed away from the aftermarket air cleaner box area, but the rest of it I hit pretty good, and now it's a lot cleaner than what it was, including the hood underneath as well. And washed a lot of the truck, like, because I also sanded the hood and now it's ready. I want to hit certain areas like through here with some good primer so that I'm actually going to block the hood once I'm done putting the primer on there. And as you know, yesterday I pulled out the dent that was in this front fender, and yesterday you also saw that I pulled all that out. But at the same time, I pressure washed all along where the body kit was, all underneath, even the wheels, the brake areas. There was a lot of dirt buildup around where the frame is, and I got it off. Some of it wouldn't come off, but I'll be sanding it off. I even washed out the back of the bed, get all the dirt out. As much sand and dirt in that area, even inside the gas tank filling neck area. This thing was covered with some brown stuff. I don't know what it was, but it needed to come off, because anytime when you're spraying and knowing that I am going to tape this and paper this off because I don't want to get any paint on the black, but it will go in there. So if there's dust in there or dirt, the air pressure will make it come out, and then it'll get on the finished product. You can't have that. So with that being said, I needed to make sure everything is clean. There you go. You can see the water running down, especially knowing after I took the bumper off, all the dirt and dust over the years of buildup, including the spare tire inside the taillight assembly, pressure washed that. And once again, you can see the marks possibly where the body kit was. So a lot of that dirt came off, even though it's going to be sanded, but I don't want to fill the sandpaper with sand or dirt either. So making it clean is important. So, and then I noticed that there's a floodlight, marker light, some kind of light hanging down there. I'm sure the client knows about it. And there's one missing from the other side, but I will remount that, definitely. See, there's none there, so that's gone. So I'm going to keep moving on and sanding. I'm going to be doing definitely 2 videos as far as putting out on this vehicle. I don't want to really get to the point where I have an hour or more on each one. I don't want to spend that much time with it in the sense of people not wanting to watch it being an hour. So if you notice, I've tried to keep the content down as much as possible, kind of get to the point if there's something that's being fixed. But this kind of process takes a long time. So I know that when that tail piece comes for the bed, I will be showing that on the next video. But this video, which Today is Wednesday. It'll be posted tomorrow morning, and you'll get to see what's been done up until this point here. So moving along, getting it sanded, and once it's ready for that paint after the body work is done, I will be showing that too. So I might be doing 3 videos on this 2002 GMC pickup truck. So until then, I do appreciate people watching. Subscribe. I know I get a couple thousand views throughout all of them total, and that's great. If I can get those people to subscribe, press that little button, that would be awesome. It's free. Doesn't cost nothing. And the videos I watch, I subscribe. It's only fair. So, but until then, and the next video on this 2002 GMC, try to get something done. I do appreciate you watching.